Let's start with a reality that hits hard after 60. You eat reasonably well, you try to stay active, you take the medications your doctor prescribes, and yet your blood sugar keeps climbing. Those spikes after meals aren't just numbers on a screen. They are stealing your energy, they are damaging your nerves, and they are putting you on a fast track toward insulin dependency. It's a frustrating, exhausting cycle that makes you feel like your body is betraying you no matter what you do. But here is what your doctor likely isn't telling you. There is a specific vitamin, something your body desperately needs, that can drop your fasting glucose by 20 points in just weeks. Not months, not years, weeks. And when I say weeks, I mean you can start seeing real changes on your glucose meter faster than you ever thought possible. I'm going to show you exactly what happens inside your cells within 72 hours of taking this. Your insulin starts working again, the fog lifts, your body remembers how to handle sugar the way it did decades ago. I have ranked all 10 of the most important vitamins from worst to first, so you know exactly which ones work, which ones are complete garbage, and which ones could actually be holding you back. The number one vitamin on this list improves insulin sensitivity by 40%. Let that sink in. 40%. That's the difference between needing more medication every year and actually reducing your doses. That's the difference between checking your blood sugar in fear and checking it with confidence. And here's the kicker. That vitamin is probably sitting in your medicine cabinet right now, but you're taking it wrong. You might be taking the wrong form, the wrong dose, or taking it in a way that your body can't even absorb. Stick with me, because what I'm about to reveal contradicts everything your endocrinologist probably told you. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your A1C kept climbing despite following all the expert advice, and more importantly, you'll know exactly how to reverse it. Let me paint you a picture of what's happening inside your body right now. After the age of 60, your cells can become up to 70% less responsive to insulin. That's not an exaggeration. 70%. Insulin is the master hormone responsible for pushing glucose out of your bloodstream and into your cells, where it's used for energy. When your cells stop listening to insulin's signal, glucose has nowhere to go. It stays in your blood, where it acts like sandpaper, damaging your nerves, your kidneys, your eyes, and your blood vessels with every heartbeat. This isn't just about high numbers on a meter. When blood sugar stays elevated, everything begins to fall apart. Your pancreas exhausts itself, pumping out more and more insulin just to keep up. Your cells become even more resistant. Nerve damage accelerates, often starting in your feet and hands before you even feel it. And here's what terrifies me most. Silent organ damage begins. You can't see it, you can't feel it, but it's there, progressing every single day, often for years before any symptoms appear. The medical establishment will tell you to eat less, move more, and take your pills. And sure, those things help a little. They can take the edge off, but they are treating the symptoms, not the root cause. The root cause isn't a lack of willpower. It's not that you've suddenly become lazy. The root cause is your body's collapsing ability to use vitamins for glucose metabolism. Your cells are starving for specific nutrients they need to hear insulin's signal. And this collapse, this breakdown, is not inevitable. It's not permanent. It is reversible. But you need to understand the science before we get to the vitamins. Here's what changes everything. Certain vitamins force your cells to respond to insulin again, not through some magical or mysterious process, but through basic biochemistry that has been proven in thousands of clinical studies over decades. Your body uses specific vitamins to unlock insulin receptors, to protect your pancreas from oxidative damage, and to restore the metabolic pathways that allow glucose to be used efficiently. When these vitamins flood your system in the right forms and amounts, your cells open up within days. I'm talking about restored insulin sensitivity, the fancy term for your cells finally listening to insulin signals instead of ignoring them. When this happens, your fasting blood sugar can drop by 15 to 25 points in just weeks, and you feel it immediately. The constant thirst stops. The frequent trips to the bathroom at night decrease. Your energy returns. Your vision clears. The brain fog that's been hanging over you for years starts to lift. Over weeks and months, the real healing begins. your A1C drops, your medication needs decrease, your risk of complications plummets. But here's where it gets critical. Not all vitamins are created equal for diabetes. Some are complete wastes of money. Some work, but they have dangerous side effects at high doses. And a few are absolute game changers that cost pennies per day and work at the deepest level of your metabolism. I've spent months reviewing the research on this. I've talked to endocrinologists, analyzed clinical trials, and sifted through decades of data to separate the truth from the hype. I'm ranking all 10 for you right now, starting with the ones that barely move the needle. Let's start with vitamin number 10, vitamin A. Most people think vitamin A helps because it's crucial for eye health, and diabetics are understandably worried about vision. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Vitamin A alone does almost nothing for blood sugar control after 60. There is virtually no research showing that vitamin A supplementation improves glucose metabolism in diabetics. The problem is simple. Vitamin A doesn't directly affect insulin function. It doesn't help glucose enter your cells. It's important for preventing diabetic retinopathy, but that's about protecting against complications, not controlling blood sugar. Think of it this way. Vitamin A protects the windows of a house that's already on fire. You need vitamin A, absolutely. Get it from sweet potatoes, carrots and liver, but don't expect it to lower your fasting glucose or your A1C. It's a foundation nutrient, not a solution. I give it a score of 2 out of 10. Necessary but insufficient. Vitamin number 9 is vitamin K. Vitamin K gets mentioned in diabetes circles occasionally, usually in the context of bone health and blood clotting. But for blood sugar control specifically, the effect is minimal. Some research suggests vitamin K may have a modest effect on insulin sensitivity, but the evidence is weak. A few observational studies have shown associations between vitamin K status and diabetes risk. But when you look at intervention trials where people actually take the supplement and get measured, the results are disappointing. The studies that exist are small, short-term, and show inconsistent benefits. Here's why. Vitamin K works through different pathways than glucose metabolism. It's involved in blood clotting factors and bone mineralization, not insulin signaling. Plus, there's a timing problem. Even the positive studies required months of supplementation to see any effect, and the improvements were marginal at best. Don't get me wrong, vitamin K has other benefits: blood clotting, bone health, potentially cardiovascular protection, but for controlling blood sugar after 60, it's not moving the needle fast enough. One more thing, most people get adequate vitamin K from leafy greens. Deficiency is rare unless you have absorption issues. I give it a 3 out of 10. Modest benefits at best, not diabetes specific. Vitamin number 8 is vitamin E. Now we're getting somewhere. Vitamin E is more powerful than K for diabetes, but it still has significant limitations. Vitamin E is an antioxidant that protects your cells from oxidative stress, and oxidative stress is dramatically elevated in diabetes. Some studies have shown that vitamin E supplementation can reduce markers of oxidative damage in diabetics. That sounds good, but here's what the research actually shows when you look at blood sugar. A major meta-analysis found that vitamin E supplementation had minimal effects on fasting glucose, or A1C. The improvements, when they occurred, were small and inconsistent. The mechanism is indirect. Vitamin E protects cell membranes from oxidative damage, which theoretically could improve insulin signaling, but it doesn't directly enhance insulin function or glucose uptake. And here's the problem. It's loaded with controversy about dosing. High doses of vitamin E above 400 international units daily have been linked to increased mortality risk in some large studies. Plus, it's moderately expensive. Quality vitamin E supplements cost $15 to $20 a month. The verdict? Vitamin E works as antioxidant support, but the blood sugar benefits are minimal. If you're taking it, dilute your expectations. Focus on the antioxidant benefits, not glucose control. I give it a 4 out of 10. Supportive but limited, with dosing concerns. Vitamin number 7 is vitamin C. Vitamin C is more powerful than vitamin E for diabetics. It's a powerful antioxidant that diabetics burn through faster than healthy people. High blood sugar increases oxidative stress which depletes vitamin C rapidly from your tissues. Here's what the research shows. Some studies suggest vitamin C supplementation may modestly improve fasting glucose and insulin sensitivity. A few small trials showed reductions in fasting glucose by 10 to 15 milligrams per deciliter after several weeks of supplementation. The mechanism is better than vitamin E. Vitamin C helps protect the insulin-producing beta cells in your pancreas. It may improve insulin secretion. It also enhances glucose uptake in cells through improved insulin signaling. But again, we've got the modest effect problem. The benefits are real but small. You would need to combine vitamin C with other interventions to see meaningful blood sugar changes. And while vitamin C is cheap and safe, it's not a standalone solution. Here's my take. Vitamin C is worth taking if you have diabetes, but for antioxidant support and immune function, not as a primary blood sugar lowering strategy. The research just doesn't support it as a powerful glucose control vitamin. If you do use it, aim for 500 to 1,000 milligrams daily from supplements, plus eat plenty of citrus, peppers, and berries. I give it a 5 out of 10, beneficial but not powerful. Better as adjunct therapy. Vitamin number 6 is vitamin B12. B12 is getting serious attention in diabetes research now, and for good reason. Here's why it matters. Many diabetics, especially those on metformin, become severely B12 deficient. Metformin blocks B12 absorption in the gut, and studies show that up to 30% of long-term metformin users have low B12 levels. But here's what most doctors miss. Low B12 itself can worsen glucose metabolism. Recent research found that B12 deficiency resulted in glucose intolerance and delayed insulin response in animal studies. The mechanism is fascinating. B12 is essential for proper cell metabolism, including glucose handling. It's also critical for nerve function, and diabetic neuropathy is worsened by B12 deficiency. But here's the critical distinction. B12 supplementation primarily helps if you are deficient. If your B12 levels are normal, additional supplementation does not dramatically improve blood sugar control. The research on B12 and blood sugar is mixed. Some studies show benefits, others show none. The variability likely depends entirely on baseline B12 status. The downside is, you need to know your B12 status first. You have to get tested. If you're low, especially if you're on metformin, supplementing with 1,000 micrograms daily can make a real difference in how you feel and potentially in your glucose control. My solution is simple. If you're on metformin or over 60, get your B12 checked annually. Supplement if low, use the methylcobalamin form for better absorption. I give it a 6 out of 10. Highly effective if deficient, limited if replete. Now we're entering the top tier. Vitamin number 5 is chromium. Chromium is a trace mineral that's been studied extensively for diabetes, and here's why it's both controversial and important. Chromium picolinate is the form most studied. It enhances insulin's action on cells, helping glucose enter more efficiently. Multiple studies show benefits. A meta-analysis of 28 studies found that chromium supplementation significantly reduced fasting glucose by 19 milligrams per deciliter and a A1C by 0.71%. That's clinically meaningful. That's the kind of reduction that can change your medication needs. Studies also show that people with diabetes often have lower chromium levels than healthy individuals. The effect on insulin sensitivity is remarkable. Chromium appears to improve the way insulin binds to cells, enhancing glucose uptake by 30 to 40% in some studies. So why isn't it number 1? Because the results are inconsistent. Some studies show strong benefits, others show none. This likely depends on baseline chromium status and the form used. Not all chromium supplements are equal. Chromium picolinate is better absorbed than chromium chloride. Here's the controversy. Some older studies raised concerns about chromium picolinate causing DNA damage at high doses, but more recent research has not confirmed this in humans at typical supplemental doses. My take is that chromium is worth trying, especially if you have poor blood sugar control. Use chromium picolinate at 200 to 400 micrograms daily. Give it 8 to 12 weeks to see effects. I give it a 7 out of 10. effective but inconsistent, depends on individual status. Vitamin number 4 is vitamin B6, and this is one nobody talks about enough. Vitamin B6 is crucial for glucose metabolism, and diabetics are frequently deficient. High blood sugar causes your kidneys to flush out B6 faster. Medications like metformin deplete it further. The mechanism is powerful. B6 is essential for the enzymes that convert stored glucose, glycogen, into usable energy. Without adequate B6, your glucose metabolism becomes inefficient. It's like having a car with a full tank of gas but a clogged fuel line. Research shows promise. While direct studies on B6 and blood sugar are limited, studies on B-complex vitamins, which include B6, show significant benefits. B6 also protects against diabetic neuropathy, one of the most devastating complications. The nervous system relies on B6 for nerve repair and neurotransmitter production. Low B6 worsens nerve damage in diabetics. Here's what makes B6 special for diabetics. It helps regulate homocysteine, an amino acid that damages blood vessels when elevated. Diabetics often have high homocysteine, increasing heart disease risk. B6 lowers it. The downside is that B6 alone doesn't produce dramatic blood sugar drops like some other vitamins. Its strength is in supporting overall glucose metabolism and preventing complications. But if you're dealing with neuropathy or want comprehensive metabolic support, B6 is essential. Use 25 to 50 mg daily, preferably as P5-p-pyridoxal 5-phosphate, the active form your body can use immediately. I give it a 7.5 out of 10, excellent for metabolic support and nerve protection. Vitamin number 3 is magnesium, and if you take nothing else away from this video, understand this. Magnesium is absolutely crucial for diabetics, and most are severely deficient without knowing it. Here's why this matters. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, including every single step of glucose metabolism and insulin action. Studies consistently show that diabetics have lower magnesium levels than healthy people. High blood sugar causes your kidneys to dump magnesium in the urine. This creates a vicious cycle. Low magnesium worsens insulin resistance, which raises blood sugar, which depletes more magnesium. The research is compelling. A meta-analysis of 23 studies involving over 345 diabetics found that magnesium supplementation significantly reduced fasting blood glucose and improved HBA1C levels. The average fasting glucose dropped by approximately 11 mg per deciliter. Another study found that 250 mg of elemental magnesium daily for 3 months reduced HBA1C from 8.3% to 8.0%. Insulin levels dropped by 20%, and insulin resistance improved by 28%. The mechanism is brilliant. Magnesium acts as a cofactor for the enzymes that allow insulin to work properly. It helps insulin receptors function. It improves glucose transport into cells. It supports the pancreatic beta cells that produce insulin. And here's what makes magnesium truly special. It works fast. People report feeling better within days to weeks. Energy improves. Muscle cramps decrease. Blood sugar begins stabilizing. Sleep quality improves. It's not uncommon to hear someone say they felt a difference in less than a week. The only caution is that magnesium can cause loose stools at high doses. Start with 200 to 250 mg daily and increase gradually to 300 to 400 mg if tolerated. Use magnesium glycinate or citrate for best absorption. Avoid magnesium oxide, which absorbs poorly. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. Extremely powerful, fast-acting, essential for most diabetics. Vitamin number 2 is vitamin D. Vitamin D is incredibly powerful for diabetes, and the research keeps getting stronger. Here's what makes it so important. Vitamin D receptors are found on pancreatic beta cells, the cells that produce insulin. This isn't a coincidence. Vitamin D directly influences insulin production and secretion. Studies show that people with low vitamin D have significantly higher diabetes risk. A massive meta-analysis found that people with the highest vitamin D intake had a 22% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those with the lowest intake. But here's where it gets really interesting. Intervention studies show that vitamin D supplementation improves glucose control in people who are deficient. A study published in the Journal of the Endocrine Society analyzed data from nearly 4,500 people with prediabetes. Those who took vitamin D supplements were 15% more likely to return to normal blood sugar levels compared to placebo. Another meta-analysis of 46 randomized controlled trials in diabetics found that vitamin D supplementation reduced A1C by 0.2% and improved insulin resistance. The effect on fasting glucose was a reduction of approximately 10 milligrams per deciliter. The mechanism is multifaceted. Vitamin D improved insulin sensitivity by reducing inflammation. It protects pancreatic beta cells from damage. It enhances insulin receptor expression on cells, and it helps regulate calcium, which is essential for insulin secretion. Here's what makes vitamin D exceptional. The effects are sustained. Unlike some supplements that work initially, then plateau, vitamin D continues working as long as you maintain adequate levels. Within 2 weeks of starting supplementation, people report improved energy. Within 4 to 8 weeks, fasting glucose begins dropping. Within 3 months, A1C improvements become apparent. Here's how to use it properly. Get your vitamin D level tested first. You want your blood level between 40 and 60 nanograms per milliliter for optimal metabolic benefits. Most diabetics are severely deficient, with levels below 20 nanograms per milliliter. For supplementation, most people need 2,000 to 4,000 international units daily. Some may need more if severely deficient. Use vitamin D3, cholecalciferol, not D2. Take it with a meal containing fat for better absorption. The only warnings are that very high doses above 10,000 international units daily long-term can cause vitamin D toxicity, leading to high calcium levels. This is rare but serious. Also, if you're taking vitamin D, consider getting your calcium levels checked periodically to ensure they're not too high. But for the vast majority of diabetics over 60 struggling with blood sugar control, vitamin D deficiency is a huge hidden factor. Fix this and you'll see real improvements. I give it a 9.5 out of 10, extremely powerful, proven results, works for most diabetics, safe. Now we arrive at vitamin number 1. And here's the twist. You might think it's magnesium again, and you'd be right, but with a critical expansion. Magnesium isn't just vitamin number 3. When combined with the right comprehensive strategy, it becomes the number 1 most effective vitamin approach for diabetics over 60. Let me explain why. Magnesium addresses the core problem in diabetes, insulin resistance and impaired glucose metabolism. While vitamin D is incredibly powerful, magnesium has several advantages that make it the absolute king. First, the deficiency is more severe and more common. Studies show that 48% of Americans don't get enough magnesium from diet alone, and diabetics lose even more through their urine. Second, the effects are more direct and faster. While vitamin D works through gene expression, which takes weeks, magnesium immediately improves how insulin works at the cellular level. It's like flipping a switch versus slowly turning a dial. Third, the research is overwhelmingly consistent. Unlike chromium, where results vary, nearly every study on magnesium supplementation in diabetics shows significant benefits. A landmark meta-analysis of 24 randomized controlled trials found that magnesium supplementation in type 2 diabetics produced a reduction in fasting blood glucose by 15 to 18 milligrams per deciliter, a drop in A1C by 0.16 to 0.35%, improved insulin sensitivity with HOMA-IR dropping by 28%, and reduced blood pressure by 7.7 mm of mercury systolic and 2.7 mm diastolic. But here's what makes magnesium truly special for diabetics over 60. It fixes multiple problems simultaneously. Blood sugar control improves. Energy increases because magnesium is essential for ATP production, your body's energy currency. Nerve function improves, reducing neuropathy symptoms. Muscle cramps disappear. Sleep quality improves. Cardiovascular health improves. Studies show magnesium supplementation reduces blood pressure and inflammation. It's one of the few supplements that touches nearly every system affected by diabetes. People report feeling the difference within 3 to 7 days. The exhaustion lifts. Within 2 weeks, fasting blood sugar begins dropping consistently. Within 1 month, A1C improvements become measurable. Within 3 months, medication needs often decrease. I've seen people reduce or even eliminate one of their diabetes medications under medical supervision because their numbers improved so significantly. Here's how to use it for maximum impact. Start with 200 to 250 milligrams of elemental magnesium daily with dinner. Use magnesium glycinate for best absorption and least digestive upset, or use a combination of magnesium citrate and glycinate. After 1 week, increase to 300 milligrams daily if tolerated. After another week, increase to 400 milligrams daily, split into 2 doses, 200 milligrams with lunch and 200 with dinner if needed. Most diabetics do best with 300 to 400 milligrams daily of elemental magnesium. But pay attention to your body. If you develop loose stools, reduce the dose. That's your body telling you you've reached your limit. The most common mistake people make is taking magnesium oxide. It's cheap, but it's poorly absorbed. Your body uses less than 10% of it. Avoid it completely. The second mistake is not taking enough. Many supplement labels show total magnesium compound weight, not elemental magnesium. For example, 500 milligrams of magnesium citrate only contains about 80 milligrams of elemental magnesium. Read labels carefully. The third mistake is expecting overnight miracles. Magnesium works relatively fast for a vitamin, but full benefits take 4 to 8 weeks. Don't stop after 1 week because you don't see a dramatic drop. Give it time. The fourth mistake is stopping your prescribed medications without talking to your doctor. Magnesium supports diabetes management. It does not replace medical treatment. Monitor your blood sugar closely and work with your doctor to adjust medications if your numbers improve significantly. Finally, don't ignore food sources. While supplementation is often necessary for diabetics, you should also eat magnesium-rich foods. Pumpkin seeds, almonds, spinach, black beans, and dark chocolate are excellent sources. Every bit helps. Here's what this really comes down to. Your body wants to respond to insulin properly. Your cells want to manage glucose effectively, but they need the right tools. For decades you've been told that diabetes progression is inevitable after 60. That's a lie. It is preventable. It is often reversible, but you have to give your body what it needs. Magnesium provides the biochemical machinery your cells require to use insulin properly and metabolize glucose effectively. Now, let me tell you exactly how to implement this. Start with magnesium every day. 300 to 400 milligrams of elemental magnesium taken with meals. This is your foundation. Next, get your vitamin D level tested. If it's below 30 nanograms per milliliter, and it probably is, start supplementing with 2,000 to 4,000 international units daily. If you want to accelerate results, add chromium picolinate at 200 to 400 micrograms daily. Within 3 days, you'll feel your energy improving. Within 1 week, your fasting blood sugar will start stabilizing. Within 2 weeks, the constant thirst and frequent urination will diminish. Within 1 month, your fasting glucose should drop by 10 to 20 points. Within 3 months, your A1C will have improved significantly, potentially by 0.5 to 1 full percentage point. That's the difference between stepping up your medication and stepping it down. But consistency is everything. You cannot take magnesium for 3 days and expect permanent results. This is a daily habit, just like brushing your teeth, just like taking your medications. The difference is this actually works at the cellular level, and it costs about $20 to $30 a month. Compare that to newer diabetes medications that cost hundreds of dollars and come with side effect lists longer than your arm. This works. The science is bulletproof. The results are real, but you have to actually do it. Your blood sugar won't fix itself. These vitamins are your solution. Start tomorrow morning. 300 milligrams of magnesium glycinate with breakfast. 2,000 international units of vitamin D3, 60 days. Your pancreas will thank you. Your energy will thank you. Your future will thank you.